I'm seeing a lot of news talking about how oil demand is being destroyed because of the pandemic, because of the economy and everything that's going around the world, the green environmentalist, the agenda from the government that wants to put stricter laws on oil and gas. And I found this interesting, this article from British Petroleum, and I want to explain it to you so you can understand why you need to take a lot of this negativity towards oil with a grain of salt. Today, oil prices, WTI crude 38.26, Brent crude 40.51. I'm Sean Pruitt, president of Kingdom Exploration. If you're interested in oil and gas news, this is a channel for you. Please subscribe to my channel. BP oil demand growth is dead. Well, that's really negative. And coming from a oil company, especially one of the largest, they're basically saying, hey guys, don't invest in my company because oil demand's dead. So why would they say something like that? It doesn't make any sense coming from an oil company. Okay, well, I'll explain further. In the report, British Petroleum looks at three scenarios for the future of oil demand. Business as usual, rapid, and net zero. Okay, none of them envisage growth in oil demand over the long term. The most optimistic one from the oil industry's perspective is the business as usual scenario, which sees demand recover from the pandemic's effects, but plateaus in the next few years before beginning decline. So in the next few years, we're going to see demand recover back to 100 million barrels a day. Then over the next few years, start to decline. Okay, that's a scenario. The other one is many governments have pledged increasingly aggressive environmentalist agendas that will see policies applied much more quickly. If these scenarios play out, oil demand will never return to pre-pandemic levels. According to BP, this means demand will have peaked in 2019 at a level of about 100 million barrels daily. Okay, so that's the most negative scenario where government environmentalist agendas get involved, like Biden. If you don't like oil, vote for Biden. Okay, they believe that they're going to do whatever they put whatever mandates on cars and houses and everyone so they could go green. Okay, now here's the thing: if you haven't watched Planet of the Humans, please watch that. I'm going to put the link in the description below. Look, green tech isn't where it needs to be. So all of this is all hearsay. Well, it's all a bunch of talk, okay? Smoke and mirrors until we actually have the ability to store the green technology in batteries. And that's a long story. But anyways, British Petroleum, why are they bashing the biggest, 90% of their income comes from oil? Why would they bash oil? Well, they have an agenda as well. Okay, look here, and this is only going to solidify my point. OPEC and BP signal pessimism in oil markets. Okay, now I'm an oil man. If you want me to enunciate words properly, just remember, I make more money than your English teacher. But the OPEC and BP are signaling the same signals to the oil market. Now, why? Okay. And what I find interesting is the top 5 British Petroleum shareholders now here are the top 5 institutional shareholders of British Petroleum. Okay. Number 1, the Public Investment Fund owned by Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest institutional shareholders of British Petroleum. I find that interesting, okay? No wonder why they're signaling the same things to the oil markets. Now, BP, British Petroleum, again, is one of the biggest foreign investors in Russia. So one of the biggest investors in British Petroleum is Saudi Arabia, and one of the biggest investors in Rosneft, a Russian-owned oil company, is British Petroleum. So what am I trying to say? You got to understand Russia and Saudi Arabia's agenda. Their agenda is to destroy American U.S. oil, shale. Okay. Now, the reason why is if you go back to George W. Bush, okay, during his time of 8 years, he took oil prices from $30 a barrel and they rose to $150 a barrel. Why? Because America was spending so much money on oil We were addicted to oil, that it caused it to be one of the most valuable commodities in the world because Saudi Arabia was the biggest producer, and that's the only place we could get oil. And so the wars that we had in the Middle East caused oil prices to skyrocket because that caused a tremendous strain on the potential of losing our ability to import oil because we didn't have the ability to produce enough oil for America. Okay. So under George W. Bush, under the Obama administration, oil prices were well over $100 a barrel, and Saudi Arabia's GDP grew tremendously. But when Trump came in office, he made the U.S. the world's biggest oil producer. That caused national security for oil to drop tremendously. The volatility of oil dropped tremendously. Now, it didn't matter if somebody dropped a bomb in the Middle East because we have our own oil. So it didn't matter, okay? And so we had more control over oil because we became a net exporter. We're producing and exporting more oil than any other country, okay? And so with that came with stability in the oil industry, causing oil prices to average over $50 a barrel over the last 5 years versus under the Bush administration, Obama administration, clearing over $140 a barrel. Okay. So Russia and Saudi Arabia, their GDP has been shrinking tremendously since Trump has been in office. Okay. Now, they hate shale oil for that reason. They hate Donald Trump for that reason because they are losing their butts. And so what they decided to do, Saudi Arabia and Russia sat down and said, hey, what are we going to do about this? Hey, let's flood the oil market while this pandemic is eating away at their economy, destroying oil, and let's put a nail in the coffin by flooding the markets with oil. So they came together and they flooded the markets with oil. Well, oil prices went negative $35 a barrel. Okay. And then they got together. It's like, all right, let's curb production by 11 million barrels a day to stabilize the oil because they have to have at least $40, $50 oil just to be able to survive, keep their lights on. Okay. And so they balance the markets, but they still have an agenda against oil. Okay. And the same way Russia, Saudi Arabia interferes with the election with news, fake news, and putting out false reports or even true reports to damage the other party, they're all in this together to destroy the American shale oil and gas industry. Now, British Petroleum, why would they destroy their industry? Well, why would Saudi Arabia destroy their industry by keeping the oil prices low? Why would Russia do the same thing? Well, what they're doing is they're drawing oil prices lower because the U.S. shale barrel of oil is the most expensive barrel of oil to produce. They need minimum $60 oil to break even, as where British Petroleum, Russia, Saudi Arabia, they're producing oil at a much cheaper rate because they're in the Middle East and in different parts of the world where they could produce a barrel of oil for much less because they're not having to frack it in shale. The problem is America doesn't have any other place to go. America has a shale oil. Okay, conventional, there's just not enough of it for the big chevrons of the world to produce oil. So a lot of them are going overseas in different parts of the world. But long story short, they're going after shale oil to destroy it. So as long as they keep oil prices around $40, $50 a barrel, the shale oil and gas industry will continue to go out of business. And once they drive U.S. shale production down to a level that gives them more control and ability to jack oil prices back up to $100 a barrel, kind of like they did under Bush Jr. and also Obama, then it'll be business back to usual. So they're using information warfare. They're saying things. Hey, British Petroleum is saying, hey, we peaked oil demand in 2019. When we think by 2050 they're going to be using half. Okay, let's say they're correct. That is very bullish on the negative impact on oil. Well, let's say that happens. Well, I'm okay with that because all it's going to do is reduce the amount of developers out there. Okay, it's going to destroy the U.S. American oil and gas industry, and if it does, oil prices will continue to bounce around $40, $50, $60 a barrel because there's just less of it. I mean, if oil demand drops down to 50 million, then the oil and gas industry is going to react in a negative way, and it's going to destroy countless jobs, and it's going to go the opposite direction eventually, where oil prices go back up to where they were $60, $70, $80 a barrel. So I'm developing in conventional areas at $40 a barrel where there's a tremendous amount of profit to be made. Okay. I'm okay with that. Now, it could go the other direction where all of this agenda from the left, from Saudi Arabia, from Russia, all of them are putting out all this information warfare, making everyone believe, hey, jump out of oil and gas. Demand is being destroyed. The pandemic is more serious than you think. The job growth is not what Trump is saying. Trump is a liar. The economy is not roaring. It's not going to come back. Biden's going to get in office. It's going to destroy the oil and gas industry. The pandemic is going to kill everybody. It's going to kill demand. Elon Musk is going to replace every gas-powered car. The environmentalists and the government is going to destroy the oil and gas industry. They're going to put mandates on vehicles and stricter policies to keep them from destroying our planet. Global warming is a big deal. It's going to destroy our planet. We need to get rid of oil today. We need to do what Hillary Clinton does. We need Ocasio-Cortez and Biden and Bernie Sanders, and we need to put all the oil and gas guys in the slammer, and we need to get rid of dirty oil because it's killing our planet, and we need to build a bunch of windmills today. Okay, so Russia, Saudi Arabia, and British Petroleum and the left, they're all pushing that information warfare on everybody. So we're reading on the news and we're like, I thought about investing oil, but after reading all this news, I'm out. Well, all that's going to do is cause energy divestment, oil and gas, crude oil, fossil fuel divestment, and it's going to cause more investment in green technology. Now, production destruction for the oil industry is happening at a rapid rate, causing eventually we're on a collision course for more demand than we are producing it. And we're going to see $100 oil again. And that is a plan of the Russians. That's the plan of Saudi Arabia. And that is the plan of British Petroleum. British Petroleum is an oil company. I don't care what they're saying about green tech. They are a big oil company, and they are not going to destroy their stock price just to tell the truth. Okay, they're doing it because it's an agenda. All right. So I'm in this for the long haul. I'm very excited about what I'm seeing. The more oil divestment, the more excited I get about the oil and gas industry. If you want to learn more, I'd love to chat with you. We're drilling some projects in Oklahoma right now. I'd love to talk with you. If you like this channel, please subscribe, and we will talk soon. Thanks.